There comes a moment when I stop allowing my words to be mistaken for coincidences, when I no longer let my guidance be hidden under hints, impressions, or gentle nudges. There comes a moment when a child who has been wandering through noise, confusion, and unanswered questions finally reaches a place where whispers are no longer enough. And so I speak clearly now, because I have watched you strain to understand me through storms that were too loud and emotions that were too heavy. You have asked for clarity, not with your mouth alone, but with the ache in your spirit, and I have heard that ache more loudly than anything you have ever prayed. This is why my voice is not coming to you as a soft breeze anymore. It is coming like the steady voice of a father who no longer wants you to misinterpret what he has been saying all along. You wondered if I had been distant. You wondered if you had somehow fallen out of reach. You wondered if maybe you were the reason my signs felt scattered or hard to interpret. But I want you to understand something now with the certainty of daylight. I was never distant. I was never silent. I was never withholding anything from you. What happened was that the weight of your season made it hard for you to tell the difference between your fear and my direction, between your exhaustion and my instruction. You tried to hear me through the noise of people who didn't know your heart, through the expectations of those who never carried your battles, through the pressure of timelines you created for yourself. And so I am removing all of that now, not to shame you, not to expose your weakness, but to make room for a clarity you will never mistake again. There is a shift happening around you that you didn't ask for but desperately needed. You felt it before you understood it. You sensed the tension, the restlessness, the sudden awareness that something was changing in the atmosphere of your life. That was me stepping closer. That was me placing my hand on the parts of your heart that had been numb for too long. That was me saying, quietly at first, it's time. But now I say it in a voice that you will not be able to ignore, a voice that cuts through doubt with the precision of truth itself. You are entering a moment where my presence interrupts your uncertainty, where my words interrupt your wandering, where my clarity interrupts every lie that tried to blend itself into your thoughts. You have cried for guidance without always knowing how deeply you needed it. You have prayed for direction while fearing the answer. You have asked me to speak while preparing yourself not to understand. But I am telling you, child, that this moment is different. This is not a season of decoding signs or trying to figure out what I meant. This is a season where I speak with such simplicity that even your weary heart will recognize me. This is a season where I lift the fog that made everything feel uncertain, and I let you see the path in front of you the way I have seen it all along. Nothing about this clarity is accidental. Nothing about this moment is random. I am speaking clearly because you are finally ready to hear clearly. And as I speak, I am also healing the part of you that was afraid of my voice. Not because you feared me, but because you feared that what I might say would confirm your worst thoughts about yourself. But I do not speak to wound you. I do not speak to shame you. I do not speak to remind you of failures I have already forgiven. I speak to steady you. I speak to align you. I speak to awaken the part of you that felt forgotten. And I speak now without whispering, because you have reached a place where you will no longer confuse the sound of my love for the echo of your past. I'm speaking clearly because I am guiding you into clarity, and I will stay with you until every step becomes light. There are voices you were never meant to carry, and yet they wrap themselves around your thoughts as if they belonged there. The voice of fear pretending to be caution. The voice of doubt disguising itself as logic. The voice of past wounds whispering limitations as if they were prophecy. These were not mine, and yet you gave them room because they arrived during moments when you felt vulnerable and overwhelmed. You tried to make sense of my guidance while wrestling with echoes that were never meant to guide you. And now, in this moment, I am removing every counterfeit voice that tried to shape your decisions, influence your emotions, or direct your future. I am clearing the atmosphere of your mind because clarity cannot coexist with imitation. You have held on to words that were never spoken by me, opinions that did not come from heaven, expectations that did not reflect my heart for you. Some of the voices you listened to carried the weight of people's fears, not my plans. Some came from wounds you thought you healed, yet they still had the power to speak when you were tired. Some came from your own imagination, driven by the pressure of wanting to avoid mistakes at any cost. But child, I need you to hear me. Not every loud voice is true, and not every familiar voice is mine. I am dismantling every lie that dressed itself in authority. I am silencing every narrative that tried to define you without my permission. I am removing every voice that made you question your worth, your calling, and your future. This is why you felt certain people drift away. This is why you felt conversations change, connections loosen, atmospheres shift. It wasn't rejection, it was refinement. I removed you from voices that could not go with you into what I am building. I pulled you out of circles that were shaping you into someone smaller than who I made you to be. You thought you were losing support, but in truth, I was removing interference. I was protecting your ears, because your next steps cannot be guided by noise. I am separating you from anything that confuses your spirit, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. You ask me for clarity, and this is how clarity begins. By subtraction before addition, by silence before revelation. There were moments when you doubted whether you were hearing me at all, because the battle inside your mind felt louder than the peace I kept trying to speak. But my voice was never competing with the noise. I was waiting for the moment you stopped trying to understand everything at once. Now I am clearing the clutter. I am quieting the storms. I am breaking the influence of every thought that carried fear instead of faith. You will start to notice that what once disturbed you no longer has the same power. What once confused you now feels exposed. What once controlled your decisions now feels small and fragile. That's because my presence is overtaking the space where those counterfeit voices once lived. You are entering a season where discernment will feel natural, not forced. You will recognize my voice without anxiety. You will feel my guidance without second guessing. You will sense when something is not from me before it even reaches your heart. I am sharpening your spirit, strengthening your awareness, and restoring the purity of your hearing. And the clarity I am giving you now is not temporary. It will become a foundation you build the rest of your journey upon. You will no longer be swayed by opinions, distracted by pressure, or misled by fear. You will hear me with a confidence that comes from experience, not from guessing. I am removing every counterfeit voice so that only my truth remains, and you will walk in a level of clarity you have never known before. There are moments when you think you need answers, but what you truly need is correction, not as punishment, but as protection. And I know that word has frightened you before, because you were taught to associate correction with disappointment, failure, or rejection. But my correction does not come from frustration with you. It comes from my devotion to you. I correct what threatens your future. I confront what tries to disguise itself as harmless. I expose what you have learned to tolerate because you grew tired of fighting. And now, child, I am stepping into the areas of your life you avoided looking at, not to shame you, but to safeguard you from what would have grown into something destructive if left unchecked. There are patterns you repeated without realizing why. You kept returning to habits that drained you, relationships that confused you, environments that suffocated you, and thoughts that diminished you. You believed you could manage them on your own, and for a while you tried. But you have been carrying battles that were never meant to be fought without my intervention. So I am correcting the pattern, not the person. I am addressing the roots, not just the symptoms. You felt the tension recently, the internal discomfort, the sudden unrest, the awareness that something needed to change, even if you couldn't identify exactly what. That was me placing my finger on the parts of your life that can no longer continue the way they have been. You asked me to lead you. You asked me to transform you. You asked me to remove anything that wasn't meant for you. But you didn't expect that my answer would come through moments that felt like interruption. You didn't expect that I would close doors that you thought you needed. You didn't expect that I would expose motives, reveal intentions, and disrupt cycles you were too tired to confront. That disruption was my correction. That disappointment that redirected you was my correction. That delay that frustrated you was my correction. Not because you were wrong, but because the path you were on would not have led you where you prayed to go. I am correcting your direction so your destiny can finally align with my intention. I know you felt confused by certain losses. I know you questioned why certain opportunities disappeared. I know you wondered why I allowed certain people to fall away when you thought they were supposed to stay. But hear me. Nothing I removed was meant to remain, and nothing I exposed was meant to be ignored. My correction is not the removal of something good. It is the removal of something harmful that disguised itself as good. Some things you wanted were beneath what I planned. Some plans you made were too small for the calling on your life. Some paths you stepped toward would have broken you in ways you were not built to endure. So I intervened, even when you did not understand what I was doing. You are not being punished. You are being rescued. You are not being restricted. You are being realigned. You are not being pushed back. You are being prepared. My correction is a form of love that protects you from what your eyes cannot yet see. And as I correct you, I am teaching you to trust me beyond what makes immediate sense. I am teaching you to see discipline not as denial, but as direction. I am teaching you to understand that when I interrupt a pattern, it is because I am preparing a promise. And I need you to know this. You have not disappointed me. I am not correcting you because you failed. I am correcting you because you are chosen, and what is chosen must be shaped. You prayed for clarity, and clarity requires that you see where you have been out of alignment. You prayed for purpose, and purpose requires that you let go of what weakens your spirit. You prayed for breakthrough, and breakthrough requires that I break what has been binding you. So do not resist this moment. Do not fear the discomfort. Do not run from the truth I am uncovering. Let me correct you, because correction is how I carry you into the life you have been asking me for. I am guiding you back into strength, back into wisdom, back into purity, back into the version of yourself that you were always meant to be. And when this correction is complete, you will look back and see that everything I removed was mercy, everything I exposed was healing, and everything I shifted was love. There are truths I hold for you that I do not give to anyone else. There are revelations crafted specifically for your journey, your wounds, your calling, your future. Not every word I speak is meant to be shared, and not every instruction I give is meant to be understood by those around you. You have wondered why certain things felt personal, heavy, or sacred. Why certain moments with me felt different, deeper, almost too intimate to describe. It is because I was preparing something in you that was never meant to be measured by the expectations of others. This revelation, the one I am placing into your spirit now, is not for public understanding. It is a truth meant only for you, because it carries the weight of the identity I have been forming within you. There are pieces of your life that you have questioned silently. Questions you were too afraid to voice. Burdens you carried without knowing how to release them. Desires you did not know how to reconcile with your reality. And while you were trying to make sense of them, I was shaping a revelation that ties them all together. You have not been wandering aimlessly, though it felt like it. You have not been battling alone, though you thought you were. You have not been forgotten, overlooked, or misplaced. Every step, even the ones that felt like missteps, were part of the preparation for this moment. The moment where I reveal what you could not have understood before. Some truths must wait until the heart is ready, and now your heart is ready. I am showing you who you truly are, beneath the habits you outgrew, the fears you learned, and the expectations others placed on you. I am showing you the part of yourself that you buried because life demanded survival instead of growth. I am showing you the version of you that I designed, not the version you felt pressured to become. You thought you were lost, but you were being uncovered. You thought you were broken, but you were being refined. You thought you were drifting, but you were being guided into the very revelation I am unfolding now. You have prayed for purpose, but purpose cannot be understood without identity, and identity cannot be revealed until you are quiet enough to hear the truth beneath the noise. This revelation may feel uncomfortable at first, because it exposes the smallness you settled for and the greatness you were called to. It challenges the limits you accepted, the lies you believed, and the narratives you inherited without questioning. It awakens courage you didn't know you had, strength you forgot belonged to you, and faith that had been buried beneath disappointment. I am showing you who you were always meant to be, not the version shaped by fear, but the version shaped by my hand. And even if you cannot articulate everything you are sensing, your spirit recognizes it. Your soul knows this truth because it has been waiting for it. There are things I will ask of you soon, things that require this revelation to settle deeply within you. You cannot step into the next season with an identity borrowed from the past. You cannot walk into new doors with old labels still clinging to your heart. You cannot receive what I have prepared while thinking like the version of yourself that was only trying to survive. I need you to see yourself through the eyes of heaven, not through the eyes of your history. This is why I am speaking to you personally, directly, without the filter of others' opinions. This truth is not for them to understand. It is for you to carry. And hear me, the revelation I am giving you now is not fragile. It will withstand doubt. It will withstand pressure. It will withstand misunderstanding. Because it comes from me, not from your imagination. You will feel a shift inside you, a settling, a deep knowing that was not there before. That is my spirit confirming what your heart has longed to believe. You are not who your past says you are. You are not who your mistakes try to define you as. You are not who people assumed you to be. You are who I have called you to be, and the revelation I am placing in you now will unlock paths, decisions, and blessings that have been waiting for this very moment. This truth is yours. This voice is mine, and this revelation will change everything. There are patterns that cling to a life so quietly that you begin to believe they are part of your personality, part of your story, part of your identity, but they were never yours. They were learned in moments of fear, shaped in seasons of survival, built in environments where you had to protect yourself more than you had to grow. These patterns disguised themselves as normal, as necessary, even as wisdom. But in truth, they were chains, subtle chains, familiar chains, chains you didn't realize were restricting you because you adapted to them so well. And now I am breaking them, one by one, even the ones you didn't know existed, because they cannot follow you into the future I have designed for you. You have wondered why certain emotions surfaced suddenly, why old wounds felt exposed again, why memories you thought were gone began rising to the top. You questioned why you felt stretched, pressed, unsettled. It was not regression. It was revelation. I was bringing the pattern into the light so I could break it. Anything hidden has power, but anything revealed can be healed. And I revealed what was beneath the surface not to overwhelm you, but to free you. You could not defeat what you could not see. And so I showed you the cycle, the fear of disappointing others, the habit of shrinking yourself, the impulse to overthink, the tendency to run when you feel unworthy, the pattern of believing you must earn love instead of receive it. These were the patterns, and their time is ending. There were decisions you made out of fear, not faith. Paths you avoided because you doubted your worth. Opportunities you walked away from because the pattern convinced you that you were not ready. Relationships you tolerated because the cycle taught you to settle for less than the love I created you for. You have lived with patterns that were louder than truth, and you thought they were part of you. But child, hear me clearly. You are not your patterns. You are not your cycles. You are not the fears that trained you. You are not the survival mindset you developed to protect yourself in seasons of pain. I am breaking the pattern because it was never your identity. It was only your experience. And breaking this pattern will not feel gentle. It will feel like losing a part of yourself, but what you are losing is the part that was holding you back. It will feel like unfamiliar territory, because patterns create false comfort zones even when they harm you. It will feel like stepping into a version of yourself you don't fully recognize yet, and that is exactly what is happening. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, free from the internal cycles that tried to shape you. I am interrupting the repetition, disrupting the rhythm of your old ways of thinking, and dismantling the scripts that played in your mind for years. You asked for breakthrough, and this is what breakthrough feels like, not always loud, but always liberating. You will notice the shift soon. The things that used to trigger you will lose their power. The situations that once overwhelmed you will no longer control your emotions. The doors you were afraid to walk through will suddenly feel possible. The relationships that drained you will no longer feel comfortable to your spirit. The choices you avoided will become stepping stones instead of obstacles. Because I am not just breaking the pattern. I am rebuilding the way you think, act, believe, and see yourself. Do not fear this transition. Do not rush it. Do not cling to what I am removing. The pattern is breaking because your purpose is calling. I am protecting the future you asked me for by destroying the cycles that would have sabotaged it. You prayed for change, and I am answering by changing the parts of you that the world tried to bend. This breaking is not destruction. It is freedom. It is the removal of everything that tried to convince you that you were less than chosen, less than capable, less than loved. Stand still and let me finish the work. What is being broken is not you. It is everything that kept you from becoming you. There is a transformation unfolding in you that did not begin today, but today you are finally aware of it. Heaven has been shaping you quietly, steadily, intentionally, even in the moments where you felt stuck, confused, or overlooked. You thought you were waiting on me, but I was preparing you. And now the preparation is turning into manifestation. You are stepping into the version of yourself that has been in my heart from the beginning, not the version shaped by fear, not the version shaped by survival, not the version shaped by old wounds, but the version shaped by revelation, obedience, truth, and the clarity I have been speaking into your spirit. This transformation is not sudden. It is simply becoming visible. There is a deep shift happening inside you, one that changes the way you think, the way you respond, the way you carry yourself, the way you see your future. You may not feel different every moment, but transformation does not always shout. Sometimes it settles quietly until one day you look back and realize you are not who you used to be. You are stronger in places where you used to be fragile. You are wiser in situations where you used to be overwhelmed. You are calmer in storms that once controlled your emotions. You are bolder in decisions that once terrified you. This is not accidental. This is spiritual maturity, the result of every moment you listened to me, even when you didn't fully understand. You have walked through seasons that felt like breaking, but they were actually shaping. You survived battles that felt unfair, but they were actually preparing you. You endured silence that felt painful, but it was actually positioning you. You learned to hear me through tears, through confusion, through pressure, through disappointment. And now you hear me clearly, not because I speak differently, but because your spirit has grown, your discernment has sharpened, your dependence on me has deepened. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, and the clarity you are receiving now is going to guide every choice you make from this moment forward. This transformation will change what you tolerate. It will change what you pursue. It will change what you believe about yourself. It will change how you love and how you allow yourself to be loved. It will change the way you pray, the way you move, the way you think, the way you walk into rooms. You will no longer shrink yourself to fit small spaces. You will no longer apologize for growing. You will no longer return to what I freed you from. You will no longer crave what once comforted your insecurity. You will no longer cling to what I have called you out of. You are stepping into the fullness of who I designed you to be, and once you taste the freedom of alignment, you will never return to the prison of old patterns. And hear me, this transformation will not be private for long. Others will see it. Not because you announce it, but because it will radiate from your decisions, your peace, your confidence, your clarity. The same battles that once defined you will no longer intimidate you. The same fears that once silenced you will no longer influence you. The same doubts that once restrained you will no longer shape your choices. You will walk differently because you think differently, and you think differently because truth has taken root in you. I am not simply blessing you. I am rebuilding you from the inside out. You are no longer who you were, and you are not yet everything you are becoming. But you are right where I want you, in the middle of a transformation that will touch every area of your life. I am shaping your future with precision. I am aligning your steps with purpose. I am orchestrating connections, opportunities, and moments that will reveal why every delay, every struggle, every tear was necessary. Nothing was wasted. Not one season, not one moment, not one heartbreak. Everything was preparation for the person who now stands ready to step into destiny with clarity instead of confusion, strength instead of fear, alignment instead of hesitation. So walk forward with confidence. The transformation that began in secret will unfold with power. The identity I restored within you will become your foundation. The clarity I gave you will become your direction. The promises I spoke will become your reality, and the future I prepared will become the life you live, boldly, freely, fully, intentionally.